Hello YouTubers, and welcome to my new toy review. This time I'm going to show you my small Kenner The Real Ghostbusters toy collection. As you can see, I only have a few figures, the four main characters and also a few monsters, but I thought they were such interesting little toys that it would be worth to show you guys all the small little features that they have. So let's check them out individually. I have the four Ghostbusters here: Ray, Egon, Winston and Peter. Egon and Winston have fright features. That means they can make silly faces when you push their arms. Like Egon makes this frightened face, and Winston has his head spinning around like this. I think out of the ones that I own, this feature is the most fun, but on the other hand, I think in basic setting this figure is kind of the most disturbing. I just don't really like this cut he has on his face where his mouth opens. I think that sort of makes the figure look kind of creepy in this basic mode, and definitely as a child I would have been creeped out by this figure, even with the cool fright feature. The two others are just basic figures. They came with a proton pack that you could attach on the back, that unfortunately I don't have, and they each came with a little ghost that I also don't have. I just picked these figures up in a lot recently, so they are quite incomplete, but on the other hand they are in decent conditions, so not too much paint wear on them or anything. As you can see, they resemble themselves from the cartoon and not from the movie. In this sense, Ray is a little bit chubby, and they don't really look much like their movie counterparts, that's for sure. But I kind of like but I really like the cartoon too, so it doesn't bother me that much. Egon wears this white lab coat kind of thingy. He's got a Ghostbuster symbol on the shoulder, and he makes this weird face when you pull his arm, and also his little tie flips up. I also have Janine, their trusted little secretary. Janine is quite a cool figure. She also has a fright feature, whereas if you lift her arms up like that, her hair goes up, mouth opens, and eyes pop out. I think that's quite a fun little feature. It works quite well, even with such an old figure. I forgot to mention, these figures came out in 1987, so they are quite vintage. Yeah, the fright feature ones are 1987, and actually these ones without the fright feature, it says 1984, Columbia Pictures. So now that we have all the Ghostbusters checked out, let's see the only vehicle that I have, and this one is a yellow Volkswagen Beetle car without a roof, so it looks really cool. I have to admit, growing up, this was my favorite type of car, even before I became familiar with Transformers and Bumblebee, and of course Bumblebee was always my favorite. So this was definitely a big dream for me to have such a cool little toy car. But on the other hand, growing up, I was always inexplainably scared of mantises, like praying mantises. I don't know why, I just really hate them. I can't stand them. Some people have problems with spiders. I don't have any problems with spiders, but I just can't stand praying mantises. And unfortunately, we have a lot in the garden, so I meet them quite often. And this brings me to a very interesting feature on this toy, because it can turn into a praying mantis by a press of a button right here. And seeing that, I've only seen this toy in the catalogs as a kid, but this always really put me off when it came to this toy. So I could say I was legitimately scared of this one, and I never wanted to have it, even though I really liked yellow Volkswagen Beetles, but I was just really creeped out by this. But having this as an adult collector, I think this is a great toy. I just love it. It has a really freaky face. It really looks like a praying mantis. The arms are these parts of the front of the car, which kind of look like the arms of the mantis. It has all this green machinery going on, yet some parts look organic, which I think is really cool. It has a Ghostbusters symbol and some sticker detailing for the lamps, and this license plate that says "I brake for ghosts and Haunter." Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the name of this car is the Highway Haunter. Another cool feature this one has is that this compartment can be opened, and there's a little ghost engine inside. He looks like a little freaky ghost, but on the other side he's an engine. This part is usually missing on this toy, so if you're looking to buy this, you should definitely keep an eye out for this little guy. He should come with this toy, even though he doesn't have any function. He just sits right there on this peg. It's not like it can't transform without him or anything. It's just, you know, just a little haunted engine. Most of the ghost figures in this line can transform, which I think is really cool. For example, here we have this big football player guy. He's huge compared to the other figures, like here's Peter next to him. You can see some nice detailing on him, like even the hair on his arm and stuff like that. He's got a mean looking face too. Big zero on his jersey. Some nice boots. And his transforming feature is you have to open up his back, make him bend like this, and it's a freaky mouth inside. Oh yeah, I forgot, you have to open up the eyes too. So he's sort of like a crocodile monster, which also has a smaller mouth inside, like an alien. You can move it by moving the head of the figure. It's really freaky and really cool. It's got that ugly green tongue going on. It's a really fun little figure. Definitely really creepy and weird looking, like most of these toys are. Just to show a similar feature, this is a ghost trap, and it's just this monster with horns and many legs, and you can open the mouth and then you will have a big red tongue, and if one of your figures are stepping on that tongue, then the ghost trap is activated and they will get trapped in the ghost or whatever. So the feature is you have to press the tongue and the trap snaps. That's cool. Next we have the Lumberjack guy. He kind of looks like the football player. He also has a really small head with a huge body going on. He's got that nice hipster lumberjack shirt and blue jeans with some weird bear paws on the bottom. That's because if you pull this part, the wings snap out, and then you have to turn the whole upper body around like that, and you have a freaky monster face too, with a small yellow tongue sticking out. I think it's really freaky. I'm pretty sure as a kid I would have been freaked out by this, but now I just find it hilarious and really cool. You can kind of move the tongue by moving the head. Well, it doesn't really work, but basically the end of the head is the tongue. You have to push it in to make the tongue come out. So that's the Lumberjack monster. I like the auto transformation, that you just basically have to pull this to have the wings out. It's really cool. A similar feature can be seen on the Garbage Man. The Garbage Man is also a really freaky looking guy with those weird blue eyes of his. He already looks like he's possessed or something, but as you might have guessed, he can also turn into a monster. You have to lift his garbage can and put it on his head. That will reveal his bug head, and he's got this kind of pincers coming out of his belly. You have to pull them out, and last step in his transformation is opening his wings like that. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any of the nifty auto-transforming features that the Lumberjack had, but he still is transforming into a very creepy and weird-looking monster. So if you're into stuff like that, you will definitely like this guy because he's freaky. Next we have the Postman. Postman is kind of like this chubby little dude with this weird grin on his face, and his feature is that you have to pull his torso up and he transforms into this kind of monster with teeth and everything and evil eyes, and his little necktie becomes a nose or something. He also has another feature where if you push down the legs, he can jump. That's all nice, but if you look at him from behind, you will see that his torso looks like he's been torn apart and it's just like exposed flesh on the back, which kind of creeps me out. So yeah, he's a really freaky figure. Some great transforming features. My only problem is that he won't stay like this. For some reason, he tends to just transform back into plain old Postman for me. Next we have Granny Gross, who's just a plain old nice grandma. Kind of looks Victorian for me, based on her clothing and stuff. But if you pull his head up, he will reveal some really freaky secrets. And also if you turn her head, a third eye pops out. I think he's one of the freakiest ones. He's really creepy. He has a big mouth with a red tongue and some freaky little teeth up her head. He's definitely really creepy. Articulation, only the arms move, and that's it, like most of these figures. But hey, it's all about the transformation, right? Also, as you have her third eye appear, her two eyes pop out of her head to add some more freakiness. I have a Frankenstein monster, and I have to admit he's not in a very good condition. But I think also these classic monsters are the most boring ones in this line. All he can do is lift his arms and open his mouth as I push the legs together. As you can see, I have some pretty severe paint wear on him. He's also yellowed quite a bit and sort of loose, so he's not my favorite in this collection, definitely. I have this little monster dog. This is supposed to be the monster dog that Rick Moranis' character turns into in the movie. I remember I was really freaked out by that monster, but I also remember him not looking at all like this. The face was completely different, and I think it was way more scary than this one. This one just looks like a fun little monster dog. Nothing special. You can move his limbs, but that's really it. You cannot do anything else with him. I don't know if he had a fright feature or if he had any other accessories. I only have him like that. And last, I have this rubber monster thingy. I think he's supposed to be a ghost with a big third eye. He kind of looks like those Boglin figures, but I think those are a little bit bigger than this. He's made out of soft plastic all the way. Even his arms are kind of made out of this rubbery plastic, so you don't have to be afraid of breaking it. It's quite flexible, and his feature is that if you press his head in at these little horns, then his eye is supposed to pop out. But I have to admit it doesn't really work that well, and it's secured to his head by this yellow string, which is sort of a chore to put back in the head every time you pop his eye out. And he can also hold his eye in his hand in kind of like this throwing position. It's quite a fun big monster to scare your figures with, so I'm not complaining. I like his face sculpt and his eyes and everything. I think he looks really freaky. So this was my quick review about my Ghostbusters toys. Stay tuned for more. Take care and goodbye.